Good morning, good afternoon, power hitters, power warriors. This is Chris Bernasso coming at you. Happy November 1st. Hope you all had a happy and safe Halloween. I am super excited for today's training. I'm going to share my screen here. Today, we are going to be talking about flow states and breath work and all of these things that my brother and I have incorporated into our lives for the past couple years now. And honestly, I think it's one of the most powerful things my brother and I have incorporated into our lives that's allowed us to perform at an optimal level, perform in a peak flow state, give off that good energy like my brother has, that good vibration. So super excited for today's training. Thank you everyone for joining. And what I'd like to start out with today, normally we share solar success stories, but what I'd like to start out today with is anyone that wants to share some healthy success stories. And myself personally, I'll just go first and say that since we did Francisco and Giving Business Souls course this past March, my brother and I gave up grains and alcohol for 90 days. And that really changed our relationship to grains and to alcohol. And for the most part of this whole year, my brother and I have not had many grains or alcohol whatsoever. So that's been a healthy habit my brother and I have adopted and stuck with this year and probably going forward. Another goal of mine that I've had for the last year is to do a bone broth fast. And today I'm actually on day 5 of a bone broth fast. So for the last 4 days, all I've been eating and drinking, well, just drinking really, is bone broth. So, but I want to hear from you guys. Any healthy habits that you guys have adopted that you're currently doing, something you recently started, or just something that works well for you? Let's hear from a couple people.
Okay, Chris, as you already alluded to, Barry Besser, Anaheim Hills, California. Every day I do my power walk with a UR instead of an ER, and I always wear the power hat, one of the ones that I have on each of those power walks, and I post it on social media, kind of like a subliminal thing, and at the same time I'm getting healthy. And I can attest to the fact that Chris has been drinking that bone broth because I saw him doing it this weekend at the Mentor Factory. I don't know how he does it. I don't know if I could do it. So more power to him.
Thank you, Barry. And yeah, walking is a great habit. I've been trying to walk and track my steps. A lot of my brother and a lot of the people in the Flow and Giving Business Soul community, we all wear these aura rings on our finger, and it helps us track our steps, helps us track our sleep. And I average around 7,000 steps per day. Maybe you get more than me, Barry, but yeah, thanks for the share. Anyone else have a healthy habit they would like to share?
I do, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Hi, power people. I am Mari Cruz. I was there at the Mentor Factory this weekend. And, I am very active. I move a lot. I work out. I stretch. I do Pilates. I do weight training. And it's been a while that I had not been sitting down for so many hours. So on Saturday, when I got home, my body was just feeling it. So on Sunday, during the lunch break, and I do a lot of fasting too. So instead of taking a lunch break, I went outside. I love the sun, which is part of the reason why I'm in the solar business. And I just stretched. I stretched my body, and that just totally helped me. And I didn't feel the way I felt on Saturday night. On Sunday, by the time I got home, I felt great. It's just, we need to move our bodies. Our bodies need to stretch. I mean, our bodies carry our weight every day.
Yes.
So we need to tend to them. We need to stretch. We need to feel our bodies, our energy, and connect with the sun. So
very true. Thank you, Mary Cruz. Very, very true. And, a lot of people forget one of the most important supplements or vitamins is vitamin D that you get from the sun. That's one of the most important supplements. So if you can combine physical movement and sunlight at the same time, great combination. Thank you for that. A lot of people are saying in the chat, they invested in a trainer, they've been vegan. Trey and Francisco are telling me not to include spices in my bone broth. Love that. Sometimes you need a little spice in your life, though. My brother gets sun and exercise every day. Charlie lost 20 pounds. Cynthia does meal prepping because she is a female badass and gets sunlight. Daily gratitude journal. Daily gratitude journals are so important. Skylar says he does cold showers in the morning. I just did this morning 5 minutes of stretching, 5 minutes of yoga, 5 minutes of rebounding, 5-minute breath work, and then 5-minute cold shower and 5-minute red light therapy. So that's a little morning routine that I like to do. Let's hear from Jim Hobbs. What's up, sir?
Hey, good afternoon, good morning. Bone broth is the bomb. I'm jealous. I love making homemade bone broth. We save the ribs from our prime ribs, and when we get enough in the freezer, we make bone broth. So I drink it like coffee. It's awesome. So
that's a great way to start your day, with bone broth. Yeah,
absolutely. One of the things that I've incorporated, I do the Wim Hof cold shower, the breathing, the bone broth. Another thing to do, talking about being out in the sunshine, is just take your shoes off and go out and ground yourself for about 20 minutes in the sun, barefooted, and give thanks, give that gratitude for being out there.
Yes.
For your day. So, and then also I run a show called Keto Rocks, but we're having kick off this month, this No Carb November. So anybody out there who would like to eliminate carbs for 1 month to see how you feel afterwards, we ask you to join us for No Carb November.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim. You hit on a couple great things there. Grounding. I just played Frisbee golf up the street at my park. I did it barefoot for the first time and got some grounding and sun and movement all at the same time. And yeah, keto and no carbs. I'm now in a ketosis state since I've done bone broth fasting, and I plan to stick with that keto diet, hopefully for the whole month. So I'll be right there with you. So thanks for that. Let's hear from two more, Owen and Trey. Go ahead, Owen.
So first thing, I walk the dog twice a day. But another thing that I really cherish in this industry is it's really easy to get obsessed and just obsessed with work.
Is that like an acronym for something? Walk the dog? Does that mean something else, Owen, or does that?
No, I have a crazy Labradoodle. So if you want to have no life, get a Labradoodle. They'll keep you really busy.
Awesome.
But I also have a 2.5-year-old, and I have another kid coming in 2 weeks. So kind of keeps me really grounded. And the best thing about this job is like I can just shut it down and take it off a little bit, as we know it's hard to do. And Cynthia, yeah, I shaved my face for my Halloween costume. Don't worry, this baby face will be gone. I can't stand it. It's ugly. Thank you.
Nice. Thanks, Owen. Trey, what's up, sir? Trey guys, by the way, is Power's newest and youngest mentor ever. He's already closed 11 deals. Mr. Trey Jara, son of Francisco. What's up, sir?
What's up, Chris? How you doing? I appreciate that. Yeah, so one of my healthy habits that I've been practicing that's actually contributed to my success this month is actually starting to work out in the morning. All my life, I've been, working out after work, usually at 6 o'clock. And my dad told me all the greats, they all work out in the morning. And literally, once I started waking up early and lifting in the morning, like immediately I saw success in the solar world. And I just have to contribute that to working out in the morning, getting it done early. And then once you get to work, you're already ahead of everybody. So that was definitely my healthy habit that I've been doing.
Awesome. Wonderful, Trey. Yeah, I love working out in the morning also myself. It just really sets the tone, sets the mood, sets you up for success for the rest of the day. And when you start your morning, you get something tough out of the way. You embrace that struggle in the morning. It just sets you up. It builds that confidence, sets the momentum for the rest of the day. So beautiful. Love it, Trey. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations again on being Power's newest and youngest mentor and closing your 11 plus deals. Awesome job.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that.
Got some other people in the chat saying they use the Calm app. Elisa joined the 10X Health group. James does deep breathing. We're going to do a little bit of that today. Reggie's lost 40 pounds since changing your eating habits and intermittent fasting. Amazing, Reggie. And intermittent fasting, guys, is really powerful. That's probably one of the best things you can do to increase your longevity, to help decrease your weight, is eat during an 8 to 10 hour window during the day. You can still eat the same things. Try to eat healthy, of course. What else we got in the chat here? No alcohol. Steven says, nice job. Lots of water and sleeps. James says, Rick's iPhone says athletic greens. I just ordered some athletic greens too. David Sinclair recommends those, so I just ordered some. Wim Hof breathing, flowmondays.com. Awesome, guys. Let's keep it rolling here. So just a quick reminder, we had the Mentor Factory that happened this past weekend. Amazing trainings. There's my brother. Irene made it. Rachel made it. Amazing trainings with JC Rangel, Cynthia, Joel Gossett, my brother, Jay Nolan. And Danny Pesci, guys, was fire. He was amazing. He went so deep into mindset and what you think and the scripts you run in your head and how that affects how you communicate and what language you use while you're presenting to customers. So many nuggets that Danny Pesci has. For anyone that missed that training, I think JC will be offering a recording. So make sure to join JC Rangel's Monday training every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific. I think it's connectwithjc.com. There's some pictures from the event. There's Danny Pesci, full packed, crowded room there. Really fun. Ramsey, of course, got on the karaoke and blew everyone away. It was such a fun time. So reminders on the trainings, guys. Every Tuesday, of course, 10 a.m. is my brother's training like we're on today. Every Monday is JC Rangel's trainings. And then this Wednesday, tomorrow, is the masterclass, monthly masterclass, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Do not miss this, guys. Going to be lots of trainings covering how the changing environment with interest rates and increased rates and everything are affecting the market and how we can best sell to our customers. So don't miss that. And of course, Jonathan Budd, the CEO, will usually come on around 11:30 Pacific time. Every Thursday now, it was Wednesday, now it's every Thursday, is the Women of Power. Kiara Smithy is going to be training this Thursday. Don't miss that. It's solarwithmarisa.com every Thursday now at 10 a.m. Pacific. The Women of Power with Cynthia, Marisa, Kiara, all the top females in power are on that weekly training. And of course, if you're new here, every Thursday, join a Power on 12 and 5 p.m. Pacific. Check Power calendar for that. Every Monday, JC Rangel's training. Guys, sometimes I join JC Rangel's trainings just to hear his jokes and his sayings and his one-liners. I freaking love it. Great stuff. So there's some of our trainings that we're going to have. Let's keep it rolling here. So as you guys know, this is actually slides that I incorporate into my recruiting Zooms and into my homeowner presentations. I like to let everyone I talk to know that my brother and I are very into philanthropy, giving back, being of service to others. We go down to Mexico once a quarter. We build a home for a family in need. And that's with Prosperity Homes and Giving Business Soul, who we're going to hear from Francisco here shortly. And we, donate solar for families down there, like this family here who's never had electricity in their lives. They've never been able to turn on a light switch or open their fridge. How many of you guys take that for granted? Right? And we're able to offer that to them. We install solar, give them a car battery or two, and we can now let them have those conveniences that we take for granted. And these are the people, guys, that are picking our flowers and produce that you guys are buying at Costco. So to go down there and support them and build a home and help families in need and be of service, that's really just what I love so much about solar, that we get to help other people, not only donating solar, helping homeowners save money, helping the environment. It's really a win-win-win. Part of the reason I've been loving this industry since I joined last February. And now Power has also embraced Prosperity Homes and Giving Business Soul, and they're sending their top sales reps down to Mexico on an impact journey to build the home, donate the solar, and then they wine and dine us So we're all going to be going, again, the top 20 sales reps from this recent summer contest down to Mexico this Sunday. We're heading down there. Expect to see a lot of pictures and videos from us down there. Going to be awesome. There's a video here of the flow of the impact journey that we just did. I'm going to put it in the chat if anyone wants to check that out. Go ahead and check that out. And also, you know, my brother and I, what I tell people, my brother and I are very into being healthy, being optimal states, being in a flow state, biohacking, doing all these healthy habits we all talked about, right? And briefly, I'll show you this video. What is a flow state, right? Some of you are already familiar with it. Some of you might not be familiar with what a flow state is. And we're going to have Francisco training on this here in just a few minutes. But check out this.
Flow is defined as an optimized state of consciousness where we feel and perform at our absolute best.
This was a live event that Francisco and Giving Business Hall hosted in Claremont months ago.
And as we start to relieve these emotional woundings and these emotional things, we start to rise. We start to release the anchors over and over again. So the big takeaway here is to know that the relationships and the most difficult one is where your gold is. And you just have to have that courage to ask those bigger questions.
Awesome. So guys, I share that information with anyone when I'm recruiting or when I'm presenting to homeowners. I love to share that information and give a personal touch. So what I want to do for you guys first, and you know, Francisco is going to talk about this more, about getting into flow states. And one of those ways to get into a flow state is through breath work. And breath work, if you guys have ever tried meditating, breath work is like meditation on steroids. My brother and I say it's probably one of the most powerful things we've incorporated and added to our lives in the last couple of years is doing a breath work. And we actually do it every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific. There's a free breath work by Giving Business Soul. Myself, my brother, a lot of consultants, even Jim Bunch is on it every Monday, Rick Joseph. So if anyone would like to attend that, go ahead and fill in your name and email here. And Francisco's even going to have a special offer for anyone that joins these free breathworks as well. Or you can just click the join link every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So I also have these resources here. I'll go ahead and put these in the chat as well. If I can pull this up here. So this is a document I have made for anyone that has some of my breathwork resources. So there's the Flow Monday website. There's a 7-minute breathwork, 11-minute Wim Hof, like some of you mentioned you like to do the Wim Hof breathwork and cold shower. There's a 13-minute by Justin Tristow, who is the person that does breathwork when we go down on our impact journeys down in Mexico. He's going to be doing breathwork for us and the executives of Power and the top sales reps next week. And he's probably one of my favorite breathwork guides, along with Avery Whitmore. And here's his 25-minute breathwork. What I want to do today with you guys is a super quick, about 5, 6, 7-minute breathwork. This one I do almost every morning. So let me open this one up. If anyone's done breathwork before, put it in the chat. Let me know if anyone's done breathwork before. I'd be curious if any of you guys have tried this or heard of it. And this is about a 6-minute breathwork that we're going to go ahead and try. And breathwork, guys, it's basically just controlled breathing. Mary Cruz says, yes, breathwork is awesome. Natalie loves the breathwork on Mondays. Reggie's done it. Jennifer says it's changed her life. Amazing, guys. Amazing. Okay, so we're going to do a quick breath work session, about 5-7 minutes here. Want you guys to go ahead and just get in a relaxed state, sit in your chair, sit up straight. If you'd like to lie down, go ahead and do that as well. And we're going to be breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. Okay. And then we're going to do a couple of these breath rounds, and then we're going to exhale all our breath at the end and hold it. And for anyone who hasn't done breath work, sometimes you can get a little tingles, you can get a little lightheaded, you can have different sensations. That's all fine. That's all normal. That's all energy moving through your body. If you're not able to do a strong workout or you're pregnant, we recommend just breathing normally through this. So let's go ahead and take a moment. Close your eyes if you want to. Let's all take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And let's go ahead and do this 5 times. We're going to breathe in and breathe out 5 times, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And on the end of the 5th one, you're just going to hold for 5 seconds. So here we go. Let's do a little practice round. In through the nose, out through the mouth. That's 1. In through the nose, out through the mouth. 2. In through the nose, out through the mouth. 3. In through the nose, out through the mouth. 4. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And hold on empty for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. So that's a sample doing 5 breaths, guys. And now we're going to do that for about 6 minutes. And I'm going to play this here. We're going to do that same thing for about 6 minutes. And you guys are going to get even more impact and more feeling from it. So go ahead and follow along. I'm going to play this video, and we're going to do a round of 10 of those, and then a round of 20, and then a round of 30. All right, so let's get started.
We'll go for our first 10 breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth with no pause between each inhale or exhale. Beginning in 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. Exhale and hold your breath here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go for your breath. 1, 2. We're going for 20. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, keep it up, 17, 18, 19, one more. Exhale out and hold your breath for 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go for your breath. 1, 2, going for 30. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
Halfway there.
16, 17, keep it up, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Last one, big breath in. And when you're ready, exhale it out and find your breath hold here. Holding your breath on the empty. Be in the stillness. Remember, this final breath hold is not about counting or performing. It's about being in the stillness. Letting your body relax. Trusting that you have everything you need. Your body will prompt you when it's time to breathe. So if for you that's around now, you can breathe in through your nose and out through your nose or mouth. Start to let your breath return to its natural daily rhythm. You can now go into asking yourself silently in your mind, what does my inner guidance want me to know right now? What does my inner guidance want me to know right now? See, feel, hear. Tune into your subtle senses. What does my inner guidance want me to know right now? We'll spend around about a minute more here. So keep asking, keep tuning in. What does my inner guidance want me to know right now? That's it. And as you bring more awareness into your body now, grounding, you can blink your eyes open, coming fully into this new moment. So,
All right, guys. There you go. There's a little demonstration about breath work. How are you guys feeling? What did you guys think of that? Go ahead and put this in the chat. I saw Ramesh and a few of you guys really deep in it. Christopher Perez, how are you guys feeling after that? Barry says relaxed. Jeff Hughes says amazing. Francisco, so good. Serenity, present, very relaxed, deep and relaxing, connected, home and centered. Yeah, guys, this breath work is probably one of the most powerful habits that my brother and I have incorporated into our lives in the last couple years. Allowed us to perform at our best, allowed us to be at a peak optimal flow state. And we do this pretty much every morning. This specific one, I do myself personally almost every morning, especially if I'm in a rush, right? It's only 6 minutes, super quick. Again, someone asked for the link or the what have you in here. Here's my document. It's got the Flow Monday. It's got the 7-minute Awaken. That's the one we just did. 11-minute Wim Hof, 13-minute Justin Trussauer, 25-minute Avery. So, every morning I open this up and I kind of choose, what am I in the mood for? The Awaken one's a good quick one. The Wim Hof is kind of more sporty or performance, if you will. The Justin Trussauer one is more spiritual. And the Avery Whitmore one is just a great combination of all of it in a longer session to really get you deeper. So you guys are feeling all these amazing things right now. I'll tell you guys, the Monday flows that we do are probably 5 times as powerful. We do it for longer, and we do a breathing through our mouth and get the holotropic breathing pattern with a 1-2 breath sequence. It's probably 5 times more powerful than what we just did. So make sure you all sign up, put your name and email here if you liked what we just did and you want to have that live every Monday at 9 a.m. and start your week in an optimal state. Go ahead and sign up for that, completely free for any of our community and any power warriors out there. So there's the breathwork resource. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you guys to one of my brother and I's own personal mentors, personal health coach, and life coach. My brother and I look up to this gentleman quite a lot. He's the owner and founder of Giving Business Soul. He helps coordinate the home builds that we do in Mexico. He has lots of flow workshops and all these things. It's who my brother and I did the 90-day initiate program earlier this year that's really changed our lives, along with the breath work that he offers for free every Monday. So Francisco has become a personal friend of my brother and I, and we're so excited to have him on the Zoom. Here's some pictures where we were in Mexico building the home with him. He was at the Power Gala in Dallas. Here you can see this picture at our impact journey back in May. He made us all jump into the ocean at 8 a.m. to get into an optimal flow state. And we also did breath work as well. He's an amazing human being. He also has an amazing 8-pack of abs, as you can see in this picture here. I go into his Morosco cold bath at 40-degree weather, 40-degree water. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce you guys to Mr. Francisco Jara.
Yeah, beautiful, brother. Thank you, Chris. That was quite a nice introduction. And everyone here, it's an absolute pleasure to greet you, to say hello, and to be here with you to share a little bit more about all this flow state stuff, and just kind of share with you a little bit about what Giving Business Soul is really doing here on the planet at this time. So, I think as a starting point, I just also want to sort of lay a little bit of context here as well. I'm a huge power advocate. As you heard a little while ago, my son is now on the platform. I'm on the platform. I've been in the real estate industry 23 years, and we see the power of integrating power into real estate, into mortgage. And so we're just big fans of the organization, big fans of Jim Bunch, Jonathan Budd, Cammie, your leadership team. And so for me to be sharing with specifically this team, it's a real pleasure and a real honor. As Chris mentioned,
I've known the Bernasso brothers now for about 3 years, I think. I was doing something I called like a merchant health protocol like 3 years ago. And I remember Chris and Jonathan in the audience there. And I think at that point, our lives really began a slow intersecting. And so here we are 3 years later. And it's just an absolute pleasure again to just kind of weave and play this game of life together with them. Great leaders. And so again, Chris, thank you for the platform. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to share. So
Thank
the
you.
thing that I want to just share with everyone here is that, one of the things that Giving Business Soul definitely does is mentoring the flow states. Flow state is something that is inherent inside of all of us. When I first discovered the books by Steve Kotler, it finally gave me language to something that I was already experiencing and I didn't really understand. Like I was experiencing these states, but I, again, just didn't really have the scientific language to really describe it, other than I always felt great. And so once I read the books and I began to understand it a little bit more deeply, I wanted to include that in the repertoire of what Giving Business Soul teaches and what it demonstrates to the entrepreneurial community. And obviously this is one of them, this idea that we can get into this heightened state. And so the working definition, scientific definition, is an optimized state of consciousness where we feel and perform at our absolute best. And right now, this state, this flow, is actually one of the most heavily researched things in science, because what we are finding out through the advancements of neuroscience is that what the gurus, the enlightened sages, as well as the extreme sport athletes and great athletes in general, what they've been describing is the exact same thing. So whether you're a guru or a Kobe Bryant, essentially what they've now seen by putting everything underneath the hood and the advancement of neuroscience is that essentially we're entering these optimized states of consciousness where, creativity goes up 600%, where we can learn at 250% our normal capacity, where we're 500 times more productive. And the context that I always like to lay there when it comes to, that productivity gain of 500%, that's literally the equivalent of getting yourself into a flow state on Monday and going and performing your 8-hour day. You could literally do what someone that doesn't get into flow the rest of the week. So that's how powerful the flow state is. You can do in one day what a regular person that doesn't know how to get into flow does in 5 days. Now, just imagine though, what if you compound that? What if you do that every single day that you go out to work? This is how we can accomplish great feats in the world. And being that we're on the Power platform, being that it's an organization with purpose, I believe that it's such a great tool to bring to the overall platform, to just have all you power warriors, solar warriors on fire in this state so that we can move the needle on the earth and really get this planet on a renewable energy trajectory. So what I want to do today is just give you a really quick understanding of this scientific process, okay? Because people use flow like an ambiguous term, like, oh yeah, I'm flowing today. But a lot of times they're not. They're just, it's a cool term, and maybe there is a little bit of ease that's happening and they can language it as flow. But in order to actually get yourself into the flow state, you've got to go through this basic process, okay? And so the very first step that is a necessity to get into flow state is the struggle phase. During the struggle phase, your body begins to produce cortisol, and that is the stress hormone. And what happens at that time is the prefrontal cortex is going haywire. It's just fully active, okay? And essentially that could be the equivalent to the ego just going, don't do this, this is dumb, why did you agree to do this? It's all that Woody Allen chatter that goes on in our brain. But what I'm here to tell you today is that is necessary. It's necessary. Without that, we don't get the cortisol that is eventually converted into the dopamines and the endorphins and the anandamide and all these additional cocktail that we need. But we need that stress hormone. And so one of the big takeaways that I'd love you to take away from today is this idea of embracing the struggle. Embrace, when you're like, as an example right now for us doing that breath work, maybe that first round we were kind of in that little bit of a struggle, right? Was I doing this right? Is this even going to work? Whatever that is. And you just kind of stay with it. And once you stay with it, eventually you get into the next phase of the release. But that first phase, it's okay. Begin to welcome that struggle. One of the things that I do a lot in the mornings is I go into the ice bath. It's like 37 degrees. And what I do, some people ask me, Cammie asked me the other day, she's like, do you get callous? Is it easier? I say, yeah, I don't know if it's easier. The reality is I kind of look at that ice bath. I look at that thin layer of ice that's on the front end of it. And I let my body produce the cortisol. I let my body kind of freak out a little bit and go, oh man. But I've made a friend with that foe of struggle. And one of the things that starts to happen when you start to expand in consciousness is that you have to, the greats have gotten really good at just embracing the suck. I think David Goggins calls that embracing the suck, and at some point you just sort of get callous and you just start walking through things, right? Sometimes even in tough conversation, when there's a lot of emotion there, it's like you just got to embrace that emotion. And if you can just stay in your backbone, you can stay in your body, then it's like, a release happens, and that's the beauty about this flow process, is that once you learn that struggle is the main piece of it and you begin to become friends with it, it really starts to open the doorway into your own greatness, because it translates. Like in the mornings when you do this process and you learn that, eventually in business, it will translate. When you have something difficult to do, you're just going to be more resilient. You're going to have developed what they call hermesis, where it's just your ability to sort of cope with the high level of, or a low level of stress, and you just make your way through it. So it's a big takeaway of what I wanted to share today. And then the next phase of this flow phase is called the release. And that's where you just make that commitment. Okay, if you imagine your body as a chemical factory, right? Once you look at that, the stress, if you're going to work out legs is another great one, or working out your back, big muscle, and it's just, it's going to tax you, and it kind of causes that struggle, that cortisol. And at some point you just say, hey, you got up, you said you were going to do this, just commit, and once that commitment takes a hold in your body, the body literally starts to produce nitric oxide. Your blood vessels open and more blood flow comes in. Hence, you're starting to move yourself into that flow state. And then that third phase of this is the flow phase. It's that runner's high. If you go and set out to run 4 miles, that first mile, most runners know this, it's not fun. Your knees hurt, you're a little bit achy, it's not feeling great. Your mind is chattering like, stop, this is silly, why we do this all the time. And then at some point you just kind of say, hey, we committed. And once the DNA in your body hears that and it knows that you're committed, then all of a sudden the blood vessels open up, nitric oxide comes in, and then all of a sudden you move into the flow state. Right. And then this is where you start to produce these endorphins, the dopamines and anandamines. And this is where creativity goes up, 600% is what science has now measured, which is why when you're running, all of a sudden you're getting ideas, or you're in the gym, or you're in the ice bath, and you're in that middle zone where you're not distracted by the phone. And that's another big takeaway. In order to get into the flow state, you can't do it with the damn phone. You got to leave the phone away, and you got to just drop into the moment, because a big part of flow is a deep immersion into the now, right? When everything else falls away and it's just you, your breath, and God. And in that state, it's like you're literally in a high creative zone, and you start to essentially move out of the lower rungs of the human emotions and into the greater ones, where we feel peace, we feel love, we feel joy, we feel acceptance. And again, it's a very simple process that you can get yourself to do every single morning. That's why breath work, we do it on Flow Mondays. That first round, everyone experiences the struggle, but you stay with it, you get your release, and then you get your flow.
So that's just a really nice indication for everybody here, an illustration to kind of show you what that process looks like. And then the final phase here is the recovery. And this is a part of what Chris mentioned about that 90-day protocol that we took everybody through. But in order for your body to reproduce these these hormones that are necessary to get us into these flow states, your body has to be well equipped to do that. And sleep and being in a circadian rhythm, meaning going waking up with the sun and sort of going down with the sun, like that is really necessary, because your body is at that point is where it regenerates. You produce testosterone, you HGH, all the different things that allow you to think clearly throughout the day. And so just want to also highlight that element, that the recovery is a big piece of what we teach at Giving Business Soul, which is why we all wear these Aura rings. And these Aura rings essentially measure your sleep. And as you guys all know, being in business, what you measure gets improved. And once you start measuring your sleep and you really start understanding that it is the second most important thing to your health next to your breath, right? And the sequence that I take to kind of decipher that is how long we can go without it before we die. Okay, so we can go a couple minutes without breathing, we die. You go a few days, literally like 3-4 days without sleeping, you don't go to rest, your body just dies, right? And then water is the next thing, because you can go weeks, and then food, you can go with a couple months, and then movement. So that's really sort of the principles that I teach, is breath, sleep, water, food, and then movement as an important sequence there. So just wanted to kind of share this condition of flow. When you get in this state, you also have that sensation there in the middle. You feel selfless, it feels timeless, it feels effortless, and it feels rich. Rich is because pattern recognition skyrockets. You can get really able to laterally connect things over long distance of time. And that's again, the sensation you feel. It's a dissolving of all things. You're just one with God and the universe. It feels, selfless. Time dilates. It feels 5 minutes like an hour like 5 minutes. And again, this is the zone, effortless. You can't miss. You're on a conversation with a client. It's just flowing. It's just flowing. So that's a little bit about flow. Now, if we can take it to the next screen here, Chris. So what we are really doing inside of this flow state, this is what you call the map of consciousness. And so if you've never seen this, highly recommend that you print it out and you put it somewhere where it's visible. Because what Hawkins has done is done us a great favor by mapping out all the human emotions from the very lowest to the very highest. And what he recognized is that 85% of the human population is caught in the matrix. The matrix, if you remember from the movie, you can't feel it, you can't taste it, you can't see it, right? Because it's a vibrational reality. It's a vibrational matrix. And what I mean by that is that the lower end of this, the spectrum of human consciousness is what you call the survival state. Okay. And then you get the service state and then the surrender. So this entire map can be broken into 3 spectrums. Okay. But the very lowest is the survival state of consciousness. That's the freaking matrix. Okay. And when you're there, everything gets very myopic. You're all about survival, me. And we're normally sort of stewing in the fear, in the grief, and the apathy, and the shame. And that is the reality that we live in. We may not be speaking in it, we might be smiling, but internally we're holding on to the emotions. And what I can tell you after working with hundreds of people, most weight that people have, like physical weight, it's actually emotional weight that hasn't been digested. And once you begin to understand that you can clear the emotional debris and move yourself into these heightened states, your weight starts to dissolve. It's because emotion is energetic weight. And in the matrix, it's very heavy. It's very heavy vibrationally.
And you know, it's always sort of woe is me and life is happening to me, and there's all this sort of victimization and scarcity. And this is where 85% of the human population lies currently. Okay. And so what the flow state is, it's to get us above this state. It's so that we can get above this state. And when we do, those things begin to dissolve. Okay. And so this is what you call a flow hack. Let's say you're hovering around 175 and you're in an area of pride, you know, and that's kind of you're typically in that vibrational state, you know, then what happens is you do a flow hack, you move your way up to the top, you know, and it feels great, you know, but then at the end of the day, you're going to eventually drop down because the triggers are going to come, right? People are going to piss you off. Your client's going to say something. There's going to be delays on your project. And it's like, boom. And then all of a sudden you start to move back down. And what Giving Business Soul ultimately teaches, like we speak about flow because it's seductive. Everyone wants to come into the flow state. But when you're in here, you know, the stuff that Chris and Jonathan have gone through, Rick Joseph, Janice as well, it's ultimately the application of an emotional technology, a spiritual technology, if you will, a soul technology that allows you to begin to address this stuff that's inside of us. And what Giving Business Soul really teaches an inside out approach to business, and gives people the understanding that that business is a game of consciousness. If you've ever stood by Jonathan Budd or Jim Bunch, you can feel presence. You can feel the integration of consciousness, you know, but because they've done the work. This is what we call the great work. To me, this is where all the work is. As long as you reconcile your trauma, your wounding, and you start to address the areas that you have which are become arrested development, you cannot reach the next levels of your business because there is a door there. And that door is requiring too much consciousness. There's too much that is requesting you. Let's say it's saying, hey, you need 80 tokens of consciousness. Well, you got 50. And you can try to will it through, but ultimately there is no getting through that door unless you go reclaim the tokens of consciousness that you lost through the woundings, when you were bullied, when you were physically abused, when your parents got divorced. All of those things cause essentially loss of consciousness, loss of presence. And when you lose presence, the greater expression of your life is you're sort of left out of it. But that's where Giving Business Soul really comes in and says, hey, all you got to do is reclaim those tokens. And here is the frameworks where you can begin to do that. Here's what I'll leave you with, is that all the stuff that is happening to you in business that upsets you, or with your family or your spouse, all of that is feedback. It's data. It's data telling you where your trauma is, where you have shame, where you have guilt, where you have anger. And what you're trying to do is restore yourself and put yourself back into grace, into the kingdom, you know, and the stuff that's happening to you is essentially the feedback mechanism. So if you have what I call a sacred teacher, whether that's a client, a boss, a spouse, and they piss you off, all you have to realize is that it's God's way of trying to get to the greatest expression of you to come out. And the only way to do it is it has to reveal your darkness. We've been a society that has been too focused on the light, and that, you know, it's just like, we got to come into the darkness, into the self, into the soul. And when you do that, that's where you find the greatest amount of light. It's like the great poet Rumi said, it is through the wound that the light will enter you. And so ultimately you have to go back, reclaim the lost tokens of consciousness. And when you do that, the greater expression that you're here to give the earth, the gifts God had bestowed on you to say, hey, it's time to go help this errant world. That's when they start to come online. And when you start to live from the soul, a soul-centered life, because you've unimprisoned it, you've taken it out of the prison of the vibrational matrix that it's in, the soul literally starts to come online, and it starts to become fucking unapologetic about who it is and what it's come to do. And if you want the ultimate flow hack, that's the ultimate flow hack. Live unapologetic. And the only way to do that is you got to go and take the chains off, you know, just in the same way that we're giving people, you know, freedom for energy, independence and freedom. Give yourself that freedom. Give yourself that freedom by going and addressing your darkness, you know, because if you look at that map of consciousness, it takes courage. Courage to dive down deep into the depths and go, why is that shit pissing me off? And why does it always piss me off? What is it reminding me of? What is that sense of not that shame, that guilt? What is it reminding my nervous system of? You know, when did that first happen to me? What were the programs that I laid down when I was 5 years old because I didn't have processing capability to protect myself? Where are those things? And when you can begin to ask those questions, this is when you start to unlock and the greatest expression of you comes out. So I think I already went over. So Chris, thank you for the platform. If you guys want to find out more, you know, you can visit Giving Business Soul. What I wanted to do was I wanted to gift everybody the Flow Activation course. This is a $149 course that Giving Business Soul has. I'm going to ask just two things, to go and register here on Flow Mondays. So anybody that registers today by being a part of this call, I'm going to give you a code once we get the registration, and you'll be able to access the course. And it's essentially everything I do on a daily basis, all the supplements I take. So a lot of what Chris mentioned, the red light therapy, the cold plunge, the supplementation, the movement, the fascia release. I've been someone that has deeply been enamored with the physical body. I think this is where the kingdom really is. It's in the body. It's not anywhere else. Like Yeshua, Jesus said, the kingdom of God is here. I think it's the physical body. And I think once we begin to learn its highest attributes, it can take us into great heights. And so all of that is going to be available in the Flow Activation course, this embodiment protocol. So all I need you to do is register for Flow Mondays and then go follow me on Instagram. It is Francisco. I'll put it here in the chat. And do those two things, and we will send you a link to the Flow Activation course so you guys can download that. It has one of Avery's free breathwork session, and it has all my protocols. It has everything that you need in order to begin this process of living, you know, from your best life. And so Chris, thank you, brother. Appreciate you and Jonathan giving me the platform. I don't know if you want to open up questions, anything like that, but I'm still available here.
Yes. Thank you so much, Francisco, for all of that wisdom that you have learned over decades and just accumulated. And, you know, some people in the chat and myself, we just love how you take these spiritual, biological practices and you put it in a very structured, sort of scientific method, and it's easily understandable and applicable to everyone. So thank you so much for all of that.
Thank you, brother.
And yeah, on his website, guys, he has the free Flow Mondays. The Flow Activation course is the one that he is saying that he will offer to you guys for free for anyone that goes ahead and puts your name and email here on this link. So let me put that link again. So put your name, email there, and also follow him on Instagram, and you guys will all get a free the Flow Activation course. He just gave a preview of what's involved in that course, but it's an entire course that's available. So go ahead and do both of those things there, guys, on the website. And part of that course, once you complete it, you'll find this embodiment protocol. And this is what my brother and I did for 90 days. No grains, no alcohol, you know, no things like that. Trying to wake up and have a good circadian rhythm with the sun, doing every day a cold shower, a breath work, some healthy supplements or smoothie, some stretching, some exercise, maybe a bulletproof coffee if you're into that. So those are the things my brother and I did for 90 days, and it really changed our lives. It really changed our relationship with alcohol and grains for the better. I lost about 10 pounds. So yeah, guys, go ahead and register for that. Thank you so much, Francisco. I know we're over time here. So thank you everyone for joining. This will be recorded and on my brother Jonathan Bernasso's YouTube. So I'm going to stop the recording and we'll do some Q&A. Thank you so much everyone for joining.